What is up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is just a little recap over the UFC 319 we've just witnessed. Pretty decent card, pretty good, as expected, but the main event was absolutely not as expected. I don't think a lot of people put money on Khamzat winning by decision, and especially not just a blanket decision, not, physically and metaphorically, like just a straight, shutout for Khamzat. Early prelims, not too entertaining. Not going to get into the Barboza fight because I'm pissed about it. Let's start off in the first fight that I'm going to talk about, Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. I thought this was an absolute lock for the card. If I had to take one fight that I was sure of the outcome, it was this. Chase Hooper's looked so much better. I thought he was going to smoke this guy. A couple of early beatings in his career made you think, question his chin going forward. But I think he was that young, you thought, oh, he'll be fine. But in this fight, he just kept getting clipped, kept walking into shots. And, I'm no expert, but the guy had zero head movement. He literally just was not moving his head. His head was just glued to his shoulders and just, well, obviously it's stuck on his shoulders. But, there was just no head movement at all. And from a fighter that young to have zero head movement and no one, I don't think anyone in the corner was shouting for him to move his head, was kind of weird. I thought he was really on a trajectory, but looking at this loss, I mean, Alex Hernandez, like, he usually gasses late in fights too, so it would have been interesting to see if Chase managed to get him further into the fight. But man, that's a massive setback for Chase. Good win for Hernandez. Total shocker to me. Chase got to go back to the drawing board, and he's got to work on that defense and that head movement. And yeah, man, he can't just be accepting punishment like that, just taking shots. He's got to shore up his defense. So nice win for Hernandez. Skipping the women's fight because I'm just not interested in it. Gerald Meerschaert versus Michael Olasejchuk. I had money on GM3 because he always comes through. But I mean, he's never been the fastest. He's never had good striking. He's never been the most athletically gifted fighter, and he's never really tried to be a striker. As I even said on the broadcast, you know what he's going to do, but his takedowns aren't that good either. And man, Olasejchuk looked really good, but at the same time, GM3, and I hate to say this, he looked really bad. He looked retirement bad. Give it a one-off. Could have had a bad night. We don't know. Maybe Olasejchuk's just becoming that good, and they're sort of meeting on the GM3's on the way down. Olasejchuk's finally on the way up. I think the fighting nerds has made a difference in his career. Because I mean, just on the eye test, whether you can say what you want about Meerschaert, but just on the eye test, his combos look good, his speed looked good. He looked good. Olasejchuk looked good. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight a top 15 guy. Like, who would I like to see him fight? Maybe a Dolidze, to be honest. It'd be interesting to watch him fight a Dolidze, a big guy, strong, tough guy. See how he gets on there. There's another guy I'm thinking of. I haven't got the rankings in front of me. I can't quite think of his name. If I think of it, I'll say. But yeah, man, that was a good fight. Meerschaert needs to go back and have a little think about what he wants to do going forward, because that was a bad performance. That was a really bad performance. And if you're going to be in UFC and you want to keep fighting top guys, even like mid-level, mid-card guys, you've got to show it better than that. But we'll give him a pass because it might have been a one-off. GM3, let's see what he does in his next fight. But if he lays an egg a couple more times like that, then he might need to retire. Let me have a look, actually. Abus Magomedov that I was thinking of. I was picturing him, and all I could think of was Nasruddin Imavov. Yeah, I mean, Kopilov's just behind him at 15, which wouldn't be a bad shout either, but I would love to see the Abus Magomedov fight. I think that's a good matchup for Olasejchuk. See where he's at. If he can win that fight, boom, he's in there like swimwear, and he can get cracking on with his career. So, yeah, I think that'll be a good matchup, Now, moving on to the main card, the pay-per-view. One of the few remaining pay-per-views as well, may I add. Tim Elliott versus Kaya Sakura. Where this deadly power striking is, until I see it on a guy who's known to have a good chin in UFC, and more than once, I wouldn't even say the guy got power. What we've seen on the feet is just absolute deer in the headlights. I don't think it was a good idea to give him Pantoja in his debut. It's backfired tremendously. He got taken out even quicker, even easier this time. Elliott's a solid dude, but the dude is 38 at flyweight. I don't think he's a normal 38 flyweight because he's quite, he's looked after himself, and he hasn't taken too much damage in his career, in my opinion. But Kaya Sakura, man, wow, the hype was not real. He just hasn't been fighting these caliber of opponents, and I think sometimes UFC bring these guys over knowing this what's going to happen just to make their guys look even better. I genuinely believe that. But just a terrible, terrible look. I mean, on the ground, the guy is just. It's like he's never trained the ground in his life, the ground game in his life. It's like he's a white belt down there. There's not much to say really. I mean, he was pretty tentative on the feet, but after getting taken down, he was just an absolute deer in the headlights. Not much else to say about that. Just absolute poor performance. And man, the guy needs to get it together. I mean, they're going to give him another shot. I think they might. I mean, think he went from the champion fight, title fight, to fighting. I think Elliott was ranked number 11. They're going to have to give him like number 20 or something like that, someone out the top 15, because he is not going to beat. I mean, Elliott's a solid dude, but I don't see him beating anyone in the top 10 for sure, and probably not even the top 15. I mean, yeah, definitely not. The guy, I hate to say it, I was excited to see him fight in the UFC, but man, the guy looks bad. I mean, I don't believe in his power until it translates to UFC versus a known, Stone's chin opponent. Yeah, man, a real bad look. I don't know what it is with these Japanese fighters, man. They just don't seem to have success at the UFC. I mean, the highest level of success we've seen, in my opinion, is probably like a Yushin Okami or a Hyungun Stun Gun Kim. Those two guys are pretty, very, very elite, solid guys, but never actually got to the title winning level. Obviously, Okami fought for a belt, but it is what it is. Man, next up, Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page, I'm still not sold on him. When his cans, he crushes him. When it's pretty much a 42-year-old former heavyweight, cutting down to middleweight, who's been through the ringer, and I rate Cannonier, but yeah, man, just Venom Page is not who we thought he pretended to be. The way he came in, his cocky walkout, nah, man. I'm not feeling it. I didn't want to talk about that fight. He had a couple of moments in it, but the way he's acting all cocky and that, it's like, man, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. You're not Anderson Silva. You're not even close. You are not that guy. Stop acting like it. You're going to be 40 in like a year, and yeah, you're pretty trash. And the last round, you got slapped about. So, like schoolyard rules, you pretty much lost. Because when the teacher came in and broke it up at the end of the third, you were on your back getting slapped, getting the shit smacked out of you. Neil versus Prates. That was a hell of a fight. Neil came to bang, and Prates definitely respected the power because he was backing up, moving. For a Muay Thai fighter, Prates has some decent movement, do you know what I mean? But I think the fact that he was fighting a guy like Neil gave him, made him move, because he knows Neil has that. He really does have hands of steel, Whereas in the Gary fight, obviously he was the bull, but he was the matador in this fight, and it was an exciting fight while it lasted. Neil landed some good shots, and I don't give a crap what anyone says. Neil's a dog. He got dogs in his hands, and he came to fight, and fight he did. And man, he just got clipped at the buzzer beater, and it was brutal. I've never seen. I was thinking. I have to check, but I think they even said on commentary. I was thinking I've never seen Neil TKO'd. In my head, I was thinking if he's ever been stopped, it's been like ground and pound, and he's jumped straight up. But I'm pretty sure that I'd have to check his record. I'm pretty sure he hasn't been stopped, because that's even what they said on the desk. So, man, bad loss for Neil, but I'm sure he'll be back. Getting on a bit now, I think, but he'll be back. Pico versus Lerone Murphy. I really thought Aaron Pico was going to win. Aaron Pico was one of the strangest cases in MMA history, because the guy is absolutely so goddamn talented. He's so fast, so powerful, so explosive. He's just so good, but for some reason, he just makes those mistakes, and on top of making those little mistakes, which get him caught, the kid just cannot take a punch. I'll never forget his debut in MSG. He fought a guy called Zach, I think it was Zach Freeman, but I remember one thing. His nickname was the Altar Boy, and they were saying, oh, he's just fought for an LFA title. So he didn't win the LFA title, but he'd just gone 5 rounds in an LFA title fight. Still finding it hard for people to fight this kid, and if they did get someone to say yeah, they were finding out who he was and then automatically getting an injury or just straight up pulling out. So they put him in with this Zach guy. 20 seconds into the fight, he hit Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico went stiff. He was basically out. Got hit again. I'm pretty sure he got hit again, but I know he got hit. It was about 18-19 seconds into the fight. He got hit and he was froze, and the guy just mercy guillotined him, just jumped on it and guillotined him and put him out cold. So he basically got knocked out and choked out unconscious, knocked out cold and choked out unconscious in his first fight. So after his first fight, he was already 0-2. One by submission, one by KO, in my opinion. And it just didn't get much better after that. At one point, I think he was like 4-3. And I mean, the Henry Corrales KO, that was bad. With the flying knee KO from, God, his name escapes me now. What was the guy's name? Good fighter too. Adam Boric, Boruc, yeah, Adam Boric, or Boric, I'm not sure. Man, Lerone Murphy with the second in a row after the Prates fight, spinning elbow KO. And what's interesting about this, I've only watched it once, I haven't watched it back, but I watched a couple of replays, but they were on X on my phone. But I remember watching it at the time, and I know it was the ones you don't see that affect you, and he didn't see it come in, but it hit him right there, right in the nice, tough, thick, the hardest part of the head where people break bones, not actually damage you. You know, the old bouncer burner, and the old Glasgow kiss machine, isn't it? And he got hit there, whether he's seen it or not. I mean, you get hit there, you should be able to withstand that. And man, he went out cold. The fact that if it was on the temple, the chin, something like that, the cheekbone, something like that, or behind the ear, I'd sort of understand. But he hit him. Unless I'm wrong, if I am, you know, let me know. But I'm literally hit him right there, and he went out cold like a light. So I think he's got some chin issues. I mean, he hadn't been knocked out, I think, since 2019. But I think matchmaking and him being so overmatched against his opponents, or his opponents being overmatched and him being undermatched, then being undermatched for him, as being able to sort of hide the chin issues possibly. But man, it does not look good getting it. I think they purposely put him in against Movzat because they were worried about his chin. They probably just wanted to get him straight to a title fight, see what he can do. So they thought, who's the next best thing? Lerone. He's not a finisher, not a dangerous striker, as in finishing wise. He's a good fighter, but he's not a dangerous finisher. And he's still not a dangerous finisher. Just that doesn't make you a dangerous finisher. A one shot knockout out of the blue against a guy that we do think now definitely has some chin issues. Yeah, man, sad to see. It'd be interesting to see Pico come back, who they put him against. I mean, they can't really put him against Movzat now, because Movzat's even higher in the rankings, and it wouldn't make sense, even though that'll probably be a better matchup for him, because Movzat's more likely to just wrestle and not strike with him. But, I mean, after seeing that, maybe Movzat thinks, yeah, I can chin the guy too. Who knows? But sad to see, you know, such a young kid. So I mean, I've been watching MMA for literally nearly 2 decades, and I've never in my life, since I was a little kid, I've never in my life seen a prospect have so much hype. Like, forget about Bone Nickel, forget about this and that and the other. This guy was, I think, paid money by Bellator when he was like 14 or 15 years old to say that he would sign with them when he was old enough. Like, this kid was literally groomed. I know, pardon my language, but because I can mean other things, but he was literally groomed to be a professional fighter and a world champion. And man, the roadmap just went all wrong for him. Bellator, I think Scott Coker is to blame for all this. They just gave him the wrong fights. He should have been fighting the Shane Crutchins and that of the world all through his first 7-8 fights. If you're wondering who that is, it's some guy. He looked like he'd just come off Skid Row that he folded with a body shot. I'll never forget it because he was so emaciated and skinny. He looked like someone who'd stepped out the you know, where the little moustache guy put people with a bit of in those specific chambers. He looked like he'd been in one of those, or one of the, you know, he looked like out of one of those photos. And yeah, he should have been fighting guys like that to build himself up. But hey ho, it is what it is. He'll be back, I guess, but yeah, I don't have high hopes for him now. I mean, getting another KO like that has just reset the timer on his chin even more. And like I said, I think his chin's finished. So anyway, on to the main event. This is the most excited we've all been for a fight in years, probably. We can talk about, oh, we were excited for Pereira fights. Not like this. Not a defending, dominant champion who in his last 4 fights has beaten the last 3 champions of the division. Like, do you know what I mean? Well, actually, no, he didn't beat the last 3. Well, the last 3 of the last 4, because not including Pereira in there. Because obviously you've got Whitaker, Adesanya, Pereira, Strickland, and now Du Plessis. But, you know, that's a pretty nice resume. Man, what a boring fight. What a boring fight. I mean, it would have been exciting if there was little moments where Du Plessis would get up and land shots, but it was just so dominant. The more the fight went on, the more you realised, Du Plessis can't stop these takedowns. Like, Du Plessis just can't. As soon as that body lock, as soon as Khamzat locked his hands together, I mean, I think there was a bit of a strength advantage too for Chimaev, and the technical ability. I mean, his positioning and control was just like, I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. But the fact is that there was no urgency to finish. And when he had him in that crucifix, he was, I don't care what anyone says, that was a guy who was fighting like he wanted to win by decision. And I'm not saying it. I'm just saying allegedly, you know, just throwing it out there, spitballing. Just, this is totally, you know, joking, not serious. But imagine if someone, say, had said to like a lot of their friends to put, say, a large amount of money on, I don't know, maybe to win by a decision, and then you were going to fight someone and try and make sure it went to decision. Maybe that was the kind of way you'd fight, having someone in a crucifix, which you've seen a million times with guys like BJ Penn. You don't need to hit them that hard. You just need to hit them enough so that after 30 seconds, if I'm not defending, the ref has to stop it. Khamzat could have finished that fight in the first round with ease. He could have easily landed heavier punches than that. It was very, very strange. I definitely think him and his boys, well, I'm not going to say anything, but yeah, I mean, I think some people cashed last night, and maybe we'll hear something about it in the future, maybe we won't, but yeah, man, that was definitely suspect in my opinion. Where do we go from here? There's Fluffy Hernandez, and there is Renier Derrida. Not that they're both the most deserving or the highest ranked, but you've got to look now. Forget about who deserves, who's highest ranked. It's who's actually going to put up a fight against this guy. That's what we need to look at. And other than Fluffy and Renier, I think we should give him Strickland. Why not? The storyline's there. I know Strickland got taken down by DDP and things like this, but Strickland, according to Bisping, has some of the best grappling you can imagine to see. And it'd be interesting to see that fight. Maybe Strickland will get absolutely ran over, and so be it. If it happens, it happens. But I mean, just to throw a name out there, Strickland would be interesting just to see what happens. So I think Strickland, if he was fighting Khamzat, he would put in a good camp, and you know, I think he would put up definitely more of a fight to stop the takedowns than a du Plessis. Other than that, it's a Hernandez or Derrida. So at least there's three guys who could, you know, give him a challenge. And Derrida out of them all, because I think Fluffy, people can say about Fluffy this, that, and the other, but I just think I don't think Fluffy has what it takes to beat him in that fight. I think he won't be able to gas Khamzat out, because when Khamzat is controlling you and throwing you and ragdolling you and riding you and leaning on you and kneeing you and doing all the things he did to DDP, you're not in control, so you're not going to be... When Fluffy gasses people out, it's because he's leading the dance and dominating, but he won't be doing that against Khamzat. I really don't see it. Khamzat was not tired at the end of that fight. Khamzat could have done that for another 10 rounds. Do you know what I mean? He could have done that. He could have been doing it all night till the people were sweeping up the arena. But Derrida, that's the most interesting one to me, because Derrida is bigger, possibly stronger than Khamzat, has the same sort of that grappling strength. It's a different kind of strength, isn't it, that grappling strength? And I think Derrida can match Khamzat, and it will be extremely, extremely interesting fight, that, because where you saw how Khamzat got put on his back in the end of round 5 and just all of a sudden managed to just, with skill, technique and strength, managed to reverse and get on top of DDP in like very quick time, which I was very impressed. I can't lie about that. To get a lump like DDP, you know, off you and land up on top of him. DDP would have been loving it if he could have done that earlier on in the fight, but we know Derrida can do that. We've seen Derrida do that against Khamzat. That's a totally different ball game. But it's the same for Khamzat against Derrida. It's a totally different ball game. So I think that's the fight they should make next. They seem to like Derrida. Throw Derrida in there, and I think it'll be a competitive fight. I think Khamzat might still win that fight. Probably would lean towards Khamzat, but that would be an interesting fight and at least a competitive fight. We just need to see someone compete with him and make it a competitive fight, not a just, we don't want to see like a drubbing like that again, unless someone's getting finished and, you know, or damage is being done. So that's all I got to say. Yeah, the Derrida fight will be the most interesting, because I think the reversals for Derrida will be there, and the matching with the grappling will be there. Obviously, they have completely different grappling styles, but it'll be a very, very interesting fight. That's what I got for this video. Hope you enjoyed the card. I definitely did. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Leave me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.